Hey, Brandon Mileski along with Pat Micheletti bringing you some second intermission analysis as the Wild give up two there early in the period, Pat. They score one late, though, with Sam Steele tie it up, and the emotions definitely were ramped up in that period.
Yeah, emotions are ramped up with me too, Brandon, because you have the lead, and I tweeted, and I should probably not be tweeting. It was a dumb penalty by Ryan Hartman.
Yeah.
And I'll explain why for the people who may not understand. You're out near the blue line. The player is facing the glass. He has nowhere to go. He's pinned. You don't have to hit him from behind. You have no reason at all to hit him from behind. 3 seconds later, it's a 1-1 game. On the road.
Hey, Pat, we're having some internet issues with you, so maybe when you just drop off and then come back on here in a second. I'll try to tap dance for a little bit here. Well, Pat hopefully gets that connection fixed. And to Pat's point, and we've seen this out of Ryan Hartman many times before. There was a reason he was up in the press box for a short little stretch there before he ended up getting put back on that line with Zuccarello and Kaprizov. That you don't know what Ryan Hartman you're going to get. Sometimes he just he plays with emotion, which is important, but sometimes he crosses over that line and plays a little too emotional. And to Pat's point, Pat, that's just one of those where you don't like Jamie Benn and you just want to give him a little extra shot. And given how in control the Wild were in that first period, to kind of put life in that building, I thought that was a huge mistake. At least, fortunately, after 2 power play goals there for Dallas, the Wild at least were able to regain some momentum later on.
I'm glad you're in control because I'm not. Minnesota. The shots are 28-15 or 25-15. So they're that means they're controlling the puck. They have more puck possession. They're making more plays. This is a game that you can steal, and you just don't want to do anything to give the other team an opportunity. And it's tied going into the third. You got to be happy with that, but I think you could have the lead.
Ben Shearer writes, how about Sam Steele? All that kid does is produce when he's in the lineup. Pat, he was out of the lineup for a long period of time, and I thought deservedly so. Since he's come back, and he hasn't been in the same role he was for a good portion of the season where he's on the top line, but I've actually liked his play a lot, and a nice block shot on it. Let's face it, a face-off play, which the Wild had already given up 2 goals off of face-offs. I granted they're on the penalty kill on both of those, but I think they figured out if we lose face-offs, we need to make sure we're going out to the right lanes.
Yep.
He blocks the shot, Nyquist gets the puck to him, and that's a pretty skilled play with a guy on your back, and he's got to kind of come in full speed there. It's not like he can slow it down, and he has to think quickly, make that move, and a pretty skilled play there by Sam Steele.
Well, my assessment of Steele, he's a very, very skilled player and a very good skater. I think he got spooked a little bit when he had to play with Kaprizov and Zuccarello, and I think that affected his game. I think he started to think. I think he started to not want to make mistakes. You would think it would be easier playing with better players. It is if you apply yourself. We're seeing him apply himself again. That was a good dash, and you mentioned it, how he scored, and he's getting engaged. That's pleasant surprise.
All right, Perry Bossett says Gus let in 2 soft goals. Hopefully the Wild can overcome that. Pat, the first one, it's a pretty high quality shot from the slot, but it's still, when it kind of squeaks under the goaltender's glove, you'd like to think, hey, you can come out and cut off the angle a little bit more and get that one. The second one, ultimately, if we end up seeing a replay where it was redirected, I'll eat my words on it. But to me, that looked like another soft one that kind of went low in on the side. And to me, those are goals he hasn't been giving up all season long, which is credit to him with how great of a season he's had. But those are very unlike Gustafsson goals against that we've seen so far this season.
Yeah, I'm hoping that second one was redirected because it was not a screen, and it was from 40 feet out. And, you've got to get those. Maybe it was directed by Pavelski. I don't know. if they change that goal or not. But yeah, first one legit. You know, if he moves his glove a little, maybe he gets it. But nonetheless, you know, here's where we're at.
Colonel Forbin says Dumba hit was clean, but perfect example of a clean hit that would demand a fight in the regular season. Not now, of course. I'm still not convinced that was a clean hit, Pat. I'd like to get another look to see if it looked like he kind of hit him a little high.
Yeah.
My biggest problem with the hit is I think he hit him a little late. And I get it that we're watching in slow motion replay, and you do have a little bit of a grace period where you can finish a check. But to me, it looked like Pavelski shot it. Dumba thought, hey, I've got this guy in a vulnerable position. Yep. I'm going to try to take a hit at him. And I don't blame Dallas for going crazy because they see one of their top six forwards who's been such a great leader for them clearly dazed on the ice and could miss some time in the series. I don't have a problem with Dallas's response.
You better go in and help one of your star players. You have to do that. And you know, it's unfortunate play. And, you know, Suter took a shot at Kaprizov, and, you know, that was kind of interesting. But, yeah, you know, that's the emotion of the game.
Yeah, Foligno got into it with Suter earlier on. Kaprizov has had a little back and forth with Suter. This is a guy who showed no pulse for like a decade here, Pat.
Right.
It's clear there's some animosity between him and some, you know, past history of some of these Wild players.
Yeah, because and think about it, Foligno was one of those guys who wasn't considered a leader when Parise and Suter were there, and you know he stepped up in that role. And yeah, I don't know, but hey, you have no friends on the other team when you're playing against them during the off season. Yes, now no.
I don't know if they're friends anyway, but Brian Hurley says, we're getting under their skin. They keep getting the pressure. Dallas can't get out of their own zone. Their wings can't carry the puck out of the zone, creating a lot of turnovers in the neutral zone, I think he's trying to say. Keep up the pressure, boys.
I you know, I think, you know, especially down low in the net, Minnesota's making some plays, and you know, they have to keep on doing it. I think thus far, they are the more skilled team. Their passing has been better. They're moving. They're finding open areas, and that has been impressive tonight for Minnesota.
Well, that's what's disappointing, Pat, is you had two penalty kill goals that were, what, 5-6 seconds off face-off draws on both of them?
9 seconds total. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's, you know, people could say, well, what's wrong with the penalty kill tonight? Well, other than losing face-off draws, it's not like they've even been in position.
How would we know?
We won't even know if their penalty kill has been bad or not.
Right.
Great Golden Gopher hockey mind, Eric Vigo says, how glad are we that this is a 7-game series and the speed limit will only go up from here? Unfortunate that Pavs hit the ice on that one hit, but there have been many truculent hits tonight.
Agreed, Eric. No question. And it will ramp up each game. You know, these guys want to win, and Minnesota wants to get out of the first round, and you know, everything involved. It's going to be a physical series, and you know, we'll see what ends up on top.
Diesel Fueler says Billy G was right. This year's team would beat last year's Wild team. That was the comment I saw from Bill Guerin leading up to this series. What are your thoughts on that comment on this year's team beating last year's team, even though last year's team clearly had the offensive firepower?
Well, last year played like they did at times during the season. That team was awfully good, and they listen. They didn't forecheck well. Their power play was a mess a year ago when it got to the playoff time, and you know they couldn't get going. Tonight, they're playing with a lot of energy on the road. I'm kind of glad they opened up on the road, and so you know you're seeing a lot of fight in them, and they're getting in on the forecheck. You know, we hope the goaltending. We talked about the 2 goals. Gets a little bit better, but you know, I don't know. I can't compare. It's really hard to say for me.
Tony says if Minnie can't find a way to start winning a face-off or 2, they're going to be in trouble. Though, do you have some concerns with face-offs moving forward?
Yeah, sure do. Sure do. What if you tie them up? What if you waste 30 seconds, 40 seconds? What if you kill it off? Those are two goals. Thank God the Wild power play looks pretty good. They have one, and they are, I think, the better team right now through periods. I mean, take away 9 seconds, they are the better team, and so that's the attitude that they have to have going into the third. Can't worry about what you gave up. You got to prevent going forward.
Well, right now the goaltending has been better for Dallas, and that's a little bit of
Yep,
a
no
concern,
doubt.
moving forward here. And our final one is Tree Fitty says prayer for Pat's internet connection.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Maybe you don't want it.
All right, Pat, appreciate your help tonight.
Yep.
And hopefully the Wild can pull it off here in the third.
Sounds great. Thanks, Brandon.
All right, he's Pat Micheletti. I'm Brandon Mileski. Thanks for Zach Halverson helping us out tonight as well. Thank you all for tuning in as we give you some special intermission analysis during the intermission as the Wild and Stars tied 2-2 after 2. Hopefully the Wild can take care of business in the third. Have fun tonight. Go Wild.